Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Suisuki. Coming up, Bougainville and PNG come to an agreement. Also,
when we came into office, Fiji was at a precarious economic crossroad. Our first priority was to restore macroeconomic stability.
Fiji government releases its budget and
I'm not exactly sure what to expect. This is my first mini games, but I think the level's gonna range pretty significantly.
Palau hosts the upcoming Pacific Mini Games. Months of wrangling over independence between Bougainville and Papua New Guinea has finally produced a deal. The very vague Melanesia agreement was signed in Port Moresby on Thursday by the leaders James Marape and Ishmael Turawama. I asked Don Wiseman, who's been covering Bougainville issues, about the significance of the deal.
Well, hi, Sana. This Melanesian agreement, it appears, would be the sole outcome of these 10 days of debate that happened at the New Zealand Army base at Burnham, down in Christchurch, earlier this month. Now, the meeting was the latest in a series following on from the Bougainville referendum, and that was held way back in November of 2019. And in that referendum, the people voted 97.7% in favour of independence from PNG. But it was non-binding. At the time, some thought the region would be independent in a matter of months, but an academic I spoke to at the time said it could take 10 years, and now it looks like it may take at least that long.
What did this Melanesia agreement agree on?
Well, under the deal, both governments have agreed that the National Parliament in PNG has a key role in the decision over the push for independence, and that this is the forum where the decision's to be made. To get there, they've got to table the referendum results. Both governments will have to decide on how this is done, and this will be on a sessional order. So these sessional orders, this is something that parliaments have to temporarily set aside their normal rules for doing business.
Is that it?
In the document, signed on Thursday, PNG has recognised that Bougainville's desire for independence is legitimate, as expressed in the referendum result. But that's all very vague, isn't it? And Bougainville says its situation is unique in PNG, and that comes as a response to counter other provinces who are looking at doing something similar because they want to reach a degree of autonomy themselves. Now, the parties to the deal, to this Melanesian agreement, so they're committed to maintaining a close, peaceful and enduring relationship between PNG and Bougainville. So that would indicate that a complete separation from PNG is not on the cards for Bougainville.
Tell me about this bipartisan parliamentary committee.
Yes, well, this was announced during the meeting down in Burnham. What's been decided is it will aim to provide information to MPs and the general public about the Bougainville conflict and the resolution. And this is to counter what Bougainvillians sense is that very few people in the parliament seem to know what went on during the Civil War, which up to 20,000 people died, and or care about it. So they want to bridge that knowledge gap. And once the bipartisan committee completes its work, the results of the referendum and the joint consultation report will be taken to the 11th National Parliament.
And then what happens?
Well, the parties say they'll accept the decision of the National Parliament in the first instance. That's regarding the referendum results being tabled or otherwise, and then commit to further consultations if needed. And this would be in an agreed timeline. I guess that's to keep them in check and just not let it run on and on and on. In the meantime, institutional strengthening and institutional building within Bougainville is to continue. To ensure political commitment is sustained, the agreement could include an international component that would be a parliamentary component as well, and the bipartisan parliamentary committee. And they'll all do that with support from the UN, which has been behind all of this process in terms of these various talks that have been going on over these past 6 years. But I guess whether it moves Bougainville any closer to independence is open to debate. There's a fair degree, I think, here of just kicking the can down the road once again.
And separately, Don, the PNG government has handed over its shares in Bougainville Copper.
Yes, well, Bougainville's very keen on this, has been. The former owner, Rio Tinto, let go of all of its shares 9 years ago, with just over a third going to each government and the remainder to the local landowners. And they gave them away. They were essentially worth next to nothing at 39 cents a share, and the company hasn't generated income in a long time. But there's the prospect that it might, at some point, start operating the Panguna mine again, because that's what Bougainville certainly wants to do. So now, with this full control of the shares, the Bougainville government is going to be very, very keen to proceed with its plans to open Panguna. It sees a Panguna operating properly as the best way for Bougainville to make its way in the world economically, something that's vital, of course, as it strives to achieve its independence.
Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown says undesirable people with gang affiliations are being stopped at the border. He made the comments in Parliament following concerns over a growing presence of organised gang members in the Cook Islands. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
37 people have been stopped from entering the Cook Islands between June 2024 and April this year. Mark Brown says immigration officials are cracking down on criminals.
New Zealand has taken a very hard line in their clampdown of bikie gangs in New Zealand, Mr. Speaker. And it is that same approach that our police are working with the New Zealand police and with our immigration authorities to also ensure that we take a similar hard line.
Mr. Brown told Parliament in Cook Islands Māori immigration officials are stopping people boarding planes. His words have been translated.
I am in continuous consultation with the Commissioner of Police in regards to this group or to these bikie groups that he's formed.
Police spokesperson Trevor Pitt told Cook Islands News the movement of known gang members is a regional problem that has found its way into the Cooks. Mr. Pitt and Cook Islands Immigration declined to comment to RNZ Pacific.
Fiji's government is spending big on this year's budget. In his budget speech, Finance Minister Biman Prasad this morning announced $4.8 billion for the fiscal year. Kaya Selby reports.
That's up around $280 million, with large injections into health, education, roads and police. Minister Prasad told the Fijian Parliament his government has guided the country to a better economic position than when he found it.
When we came into office, Fiji was at a precarious economic crossroad. Our first priority was to restore macroeconomic stability, rebuild trust in economic policy-making institutions, and chart a path towards sustainable and inclusive growth.
Also in the budget, a sales tax cut from 15% to 12.5%. Minister Prasad says this is necessary to keep prices low, so long as US tariffs and the crisis in the Middle East create supply chain uncertainty.
It does two things. It kills two birds in one. It addresses any big shock that we might get, plus it also helps the people. So this is a very anticipatory measure, and it's not only just increasing civil service pay, increasing social welfare. We are putting money in a lot of other sectors.
Opposition MPs have lambasted the budget for widening the deficit while providing little in terms of salary increases. Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka has yet to publicly comment.
Palau hosts the 2025 Pacific Mini Games from Sunday. 24 countries, close to 1,500 athletes and 12 sports will be the focus from 30th of June as competition rolls off. Majority of the competing teams are in Palau, with others flying in over the next 2 days ahead of the opening ceremony. RNZ Pacific will be at the event to provide coverage as they happen. And Elias Atora joins me to tell us more about the Games.
Palau has been preparing for the Games since the last one held in 2022. What does hosting the Games mean to Palau? What are you hearing from the locals in Koroa?
Yes, exciting times for Palau from this weekend and the opening of the Pacific Games happening on Sunday the 29th, and competition continues until the 9th of July. The majority of the competing teams are now in Palau, with others expected to fly in over the next 2 days ahead of the opening. Dr. Patrick Telei, chair of the Palau Pacific Games Organizing Committee, has told us that they are excited. The people of Palau, the government of Palau, the business family in Palau are excited to be able to host the games. They said that they have done their best to make sure that all the facilities, all that is needed to be prepared, the hosting villages, the hosting schools, and all that are in place before the contingents do arrive in Koro, and of course getting to the competition. Yesterday, he confirmed that all facilities to be used in the 12 spots that are going to be competed in at the games. All the facilities are now completed and ready to be used. And of course, I know Palau athletes have been using some of them as they prepared to participate in the games. Funding for the facilities has come through 5.7 million in support from the Republic of China in Taiwan, and President Surangel Whips Jr. Was on hand 2 days ago to officially launch the 11 facilities that have been upgraded for this event. So Palau is ready. Palau excited. They are keen. They have done what they can. They are now welcoming those team contingents that have started arriving. And definitely, as the word is on the ground in Koro, there's a buzz in the air, and the people of Palau are ready to host the Pacific at the Pacific Games starting on Sunday.
Yeah, as you say, the different contingents have already started to arrive in Palau before the official opening on Sunday. Can you give us an update on what teams are in Palau now?
There's a lot of activities, a lot of flights into Koro in the past few days, and still happening today. Fiji left Nandi. The Fiji contingent left Nandi. First contingent left this morning. There's one that's flying out again later this afternoon. PNG already had 2 flights into Koro in the last 24 hours. They have their contingent now there in Koro. PNG, of course, the medal winners, the top medal winners from the 2022 games in Northern Marianas. Fiji getting in there. Tonga was there from 2 days ago. They had part of their contingent there, with the others are flying in today and tomorrow. Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Cook Islands, the Tahitians and Guam, and the team from Northern Marianas, New Caledonia, all. Some are already there. Some are getting in there today. Some are going to be getting in there on Sunday just before the official opening. Definitely, we see a trend happening here too. The governments of the different countries have gone behind their teams and supported them. The government of Vanuatu chartered a flight that is taking the Vanuatu team across. Papua New Guinea chartered 2 flights, Fiji chartered 2 flights, and the Solomon Islands team they are in Palau now, and those who are going to be competing have been given incentives by their government with financial rewards. So a lot of excitement happening in Palau with all these teams getting in, and New Zealand, Australia also in the link. New Zealand, I believe, should be getting there by Sunday, and definitely all teams that are going to be participating should be in Koro by Sunday or at the latest on Monday morning.
From your expertise, who do you think are the favorites to dominate at these games?
Well, definitely Papua New Guinea is what everybody is saying will be the dominant force to beat. They were champions in 2022, where they won 33 gold medals and 80 medals in total. But speaking to the organizers, speaking to the different teams, they're looking at the big guns, so to speak. Tahiti, of course, always been dominant in swimming, and New Caledonia. You have Samoa dominant in weightlifting. The same with Papua New Guinea, Nauru, Kiribati. We are looking at the Micronesian countries to be dominant in baseball, in softball, because they are sports that are played mainly in the Micronesian countries. So you would see probably Palau, FSM, or the Marianas, dominating in those two sports. But definitely, swimming and weightlifting will be the ones that will be giving out the major haul of medals, eh? And that is where teams like Samoa, teams like New Caledonia, Tahiti, you have Nauru. Fiji has a strong weightlifting contingent as well. But as I said earlier, Papua New Guinea will be the team to beat. And you have the big guns like Tahiti, New Caledonia, Guam, Fiji, Vanuatu, and the Micronesians also should not be, should not be left out of contention for the medals. Interesting that most of the sports are going to be having finals straight away on the same day they start competing. Athletics, you have swimming, you have weightlifting, and of course judo. Finals will be happening right throughout the week, and we will get to know the winners straight away over the days.
It definitely sounds like an exciting time to be in Palau, but how significant is the mini games to Pacific Island athletes as a whole?
Yeah, the mini games, has been something that a lot of our Pacific Island countries use to test out their new athletes. When they identify new athletes building up for future internationals, they try and get them to break at the Pacific Games. And this is what's happening again this year, looking at the different contingents, looking at the different teams and the makeup. You see that a lot of them, I think, of all the teams that are going to Palau, there's about 30 to 40% who are under 18 years old. And that goes right across the Pacific teams. And one of the major things is that they're using it as a stepping stone, as a development ground for their athletes before they compete at the 2027 Pacific Games in Tahiti, 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, and the 2032 Olympic Games in Sydney. So that is basically where the mini games is in relation to the games happening in the Pacific. So the mini games is like a stepping stone, and definitely this time around we will see that majority of the athletes competing are youth who are being groomed and developed to be future internationals for our Pacific Island countries in the international commitments that are coming up in the later years.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā, soifua.